Hello, welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Revell's Rebox of the ICM MIG-25 Foxbox. Now this is 1/48 scale. As I say, it is a Rebox, but actually it's a pretty good one at that. The ICM kit is renowned for being pretty spot on. I know you've got the naysayers out there saying, oh, it's got fit issues and it's got some little shape issues and this, that and the other, but at the end of the day, from what I can tell, from what I know people have built this, actually said it's a pretty good kit. So, in the box, as you can see, it is just that normal way of doing it with a few little choice pictures round the outside on this one. So your kit number 03931, and you can see the usual blurb. Unfortunately, it is the old open up box top, which tends to get a little bit squashed over time. If that stands, it does stand. So we have a protected box. Oh, it's a sleeve, is it? Hold on, there's something going on in here. All right, so let's have that. That go over there. Flip that over, so I might be able to get it in a moment. So to start with, we have the decals, don't look too bad. Let's start in the instructions, all right? So Revell's new form instructions, actually I think they're pretty good. I don't have a problem with them at all. The only thing I don't like is their colour call. That's still harping on to making their own. I can understand it from a business point of view, but from a modeller's point of view, it is a little bit of a pain. Okay, so as I said, this is a Rebox, so we've got various parts aren't going to be used down in there. Have a look in those and you'll find out all about them. Then it's a case of just working through the build. So usual things you can imagine, starting off with wheel wells and cockpits. I'm putting those in. Again, look pretty nicely detailed with those. Okay, and then working our way around, we've got the seat going in and the floor area, other side of the cockpit. It is a little bit modular because obviously there is different versions of this kit out there with ICM. So you've got the P version, I think it is. This is the RBT. So you've got different types of reconnaissance ones on this. Okay. Then we're going in with the wheel wells and we're going in with the intakes. A big old intakes on this particular bird, as you can imagine. And then working our way through those, putting all of those in. And then, as I said, it is quite modular. So you're going to put in the front part of the fuselage into the main fuselage system. A lot of gear works, quite a complicated gear system on this one. So you're going to be putting all of that in. And as you can see, building up all the sides as it goes right the way through. Now again, there is some quotes out there from people saying it's the wrong sort of size and fits and everything else. Actually, I don't think it's too bad. Big old engines. These engines are enormous on this particular jet. They are huge. As you can see, we've got all of those down in there. Working around, putting the top part, which is quite nice because it's a one-piece part, goes in the top on there. Engines being fitted in the back, and then working on those all-important tailplane areas and the sizes and the ventral fins underneath as well. It's like a one-piece side that goes onto them, onto the outside, as we can see just down on there. Then you've got the plates for the overtypes, tops of the actual intakes being fitted into those ones, and then lumps, bumps and various things. Wings are pretty good. They're actually two-part, and then obviously we've got separate molded flaps and slats. Flaps and aileron controls. If you wanted to actually adjust those, you could do. We've got some of the strakes and fences for the wings being fitted. Same on the other side, and then because it is by its nature, this is the reconnaissance version, we've got the different type of nose down on here with all the cameras and the various parts down being fitted in there. And again, a lot more of the lumps and bumps from underneath being fitted in. Undercarriage systems, as you might imagine, all of those being fitted in there like that. And then we've got a big old fuel tank underneath to feed this thirsty fighter as it's making its high-speed runs. Okay, and again, canopy being fitted on, can be displayed open or closed as the side would fit one on that one. And then your markings as it goes through. As you see, it's pretty much a universal grey cover all over, sort of road film grey I think they call it, or traffic grey or whatever it is. So again, fitting that one in just like that. It looks quite complex. Actually, it's not too bad. Don't get too wound up with it. It's not that bad as it might look at first glance, okay? Decals, as you can see, don't look too bad at all. Pretty strong colours and all the rest of it, but actually I think they're weathered down quite nicely. Carrier film seems to be that sort of medium satin finish that Revell are doing with all their decals now and everything else. You can see the carrier film on there. It's not giant. It's kept quite nicely clipped to all the actual markings. Markings themselves do tend to be wording as well. It's not generic just crosses in a line. Those actually do look quite nice down in there. Again, we've got decals and markings for the various instrument panels and side panels and things like that as well. So the kit, unclick it, and it does come out in sections. So let's have that and that. Get rid of that. Okay, so as we can see, it is a Rebox. Is it going to say it? Sort of ish. Okay, it's a clue that it's a Rebox when you get labels on it like that. So if we can get in here If you haven't built an ICM kit, I don't think we've reviewed too many here on the site, but they usually are very nicely done. And as you can see, this is no exception to them. Actually, a very nice sprue. You can see a lot of the details on those with no problems with that at all. Okay, so having a bit of a closer look, I think if we go top to bottom, might be a little bit easier if we can get it all in. So there we go, we've got parts in at the top, but hopefully you can see we've got some really very nice details on that fuselage section as it makes its way down. Some nice riveting. Okay, and bolt detail. It may be a little bit overdone, but this is Russian, and we love Russian stuff because it's overdone. That's the whole point to it. And then again, working down into those wheel wells, things like that, as you can see, some really nice details with those. On the blind side, again, nicely molded in. We have no problems with those. These good, clean, sharp molding on the upside. And then down in here, as we can see, this is the inside for the wheel wells, things like that. No ejector pins, nice, good details in all of those. So no problem with that at all. But just generally, this detail in here is absolutely fabulous. No problems whatsoever. That's actually a really nice part, just like that. Okay, and again, that top, really nice one-piece flat top, so we don't have trouble with a seam line running down the middle here or edging and stuff like that. It is what it is. It's right the way through the top like that, so that's very nice indeed. Okay, then we've got the actual main sprue here. This has got all your panels in there and everything else, as you might imagine. Again, lots of riveting detail. You can see it down on there just like that. And then again, if we have a bit of a closer look, so you've got the control surfaces and the flaps and everything else there. You can see those huge side plates we were talking about, which is going to cover up all the internals. Again, nicely done, so we don't have to worry. It's cleverly thought out. We've got some nice, good closed up areas down in here, so no big joins, nothing like that. Riveting detail down here on the tail, no problem. The actual tail planes here, again, some nice details with that. We've got some wheels under there, the other side, and then again, big old wheels. A little bit of compressor blades, perhaps a little bit dull, but again, beautiful details down in here. And on the blind side, you can actually see we've got the tyres, aren't too bad at all. You could go down the replacement route if you wanted to, but generally all the parts very nicely done. A good clean kit. Okay, then we've got this guy down on here. Okay, so again, beautiful detailing, no problems with any of these whatsoever. We've got the sides or the beginnings of the actual forward fuselage, things like that. And then again, we work our way down, we can see really very nice details on all of these. It is probably one of the nicest, sharpest kits like it. And obviously when you're thinking what other options do you have, Phil? Kitty Hawk? Need I say any more? Okay, so from that point of view, really very nice. And even down in here you can see we've got some nice details down in here. We have got some little ejector pins, a little bit of a pain, but down here in the actual exhausts, but generally they're nice, they're buried in, they're quite heavy detailed. Light sanding would take care of those, I think, without losing too much internal details. But just to see the size of this framework here, as you can see, really very nice. It's a big, chunky, solid kit, absolutely bulletproof, this thing. Okay, so some of the engine areas at the back, this is obviously kit specific for this one because it's got the different nose in it and the different parts all for it, for the stinger on the tail and all those things like that. And again, you know, when if we do it in quarters on here, I think it'll be easier. You can see we've got the details, no problem with those at all. And these parts on here, really very nicely done. That bottom of the camera looks a bit like a Dalek, okay, and down on there. Really very cleverly thought out and designed kit. Again, you can just see the amount of processing that's gone into this one and the time, and then again, you know, the way it's been then transferred over into the molds and things like that. Really very nice indeed. So down on here we've got, these are the big old slip fuel tank that goes right across the belly of this guy. Very nicely done. We've got the intakes, the things like that, the burner rings at the back, some of the gear work. And in those things, and again, when you're into it and you're looking very carefully, you can see some of the level of detail. This is beautifully done in there. You catch all the grid work and everything else. Very nicely done indeed. It is absolutely a fantastic kit. Again, just these little details down in here, you catch them in the light, you can actually see. That's not an ejector pin, by the way. That's supposed to be there. It's an access hatch with the grill work and everything. It's very fine, very nicely detailed. No problems at all. That is actually really very nice. And then we've got the wings. One thing I'm looking out for is the canopy. Where's the oh, there's the canopy. Clever, they hid it in amongst it all. Okay, so if we can get this going up. So again, looking at the wings, might as well look separately. As you can see, fantastic detail, no problem with that. And on the other side, that's really very nice. Nice, clean, sharp on the inside as well. No problems like that. Again, this is it. A lot of people say, oh, it's a Rebox and everything else, but when you get a good Rebox like this, it's absolutely fantastic. And I know some people, there is the little thing out there, a few little voices that say it's got some incorrect shapes and stuff. Honestly, looks like a Foxback to me. So I wouldn't worry about it. That is actually very, very nice indeed. Okay, last up we've got in this little guy is the clear parts. Okay, so looking at the clear parts, really very nice indeed. This front one is absolutely glass-like. You can see there's no distortion in that whatsoever. That is really very nice. Little colour instrument panel here. Okay, and again the lights, nice bulbous system, going to show really well. These are for the cameras, sorry. They're going to look really nice. Touch of black on the back of them, make them absolutely pop. But generally very nice riveting detail and everything right over that. Okay, so it's not Revell. Don't think it's Revell for a minute. This is an ICM kit and probably the best MIG-25 kit there is out there. It's a stunning kit. It's going to go together really, really nicely. Forget what people say about it's got shape issues, because unless you're a real heavy duty rivet counter, you're never going to know it. So there we go. That's Revell's reboxing of the ICM 148 scale MIG-25 RBT.